Good afternoon, everybody. Today I'm joined with Doug Dyment from Gatekeeper Systems. Now, in case you're unaware, Gatekeeper is coming off a quarter that they just announced this week where they saw 101% revenue growth versus the same quarter a year prior. Guys, I think that this story is getting really exciting. We have seen tremendous growth for a couple of years now. The margins are outstanding. And also there's this weird thing that's happening where a lot of the profitable Canadian micro caps are seeing tremendous action in their share price, and Gatekeeper is no exception to that list. So if you're new to the story, part of what Gatekeeper Systems does is they install cameras on school buses so that they can keep an eye on people who are drivers who infract on the stop sign and blow past it. For kids who are just trying to safely cross the street, this is quite a danger. And in some cases, they actually have the ability to issue citations on behalf of the state or the municipality. Now, for the people who have been following the story, it's been exciting because there's been quite a bit of growth for a few years now. And we get into the quarter, what's driving the growth, and Doug gives us hints at what we can expect for 2024. All right, everybody, enjoy the interview. Doug, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. Happy to be here.
So Doug, we first met actually in Chicago at a microcap club conference back in, I think it was 2015. And something that I really love about seeing how this story has played out is that what you said the company was going to do back in 2015 is exactly what you've done nearly a decade later. So first off, I got to give you congratulations for that. Now, we got a whole bunch of people who are new to the story in our audience, and they're unfamiliar with Gatekeeper Systems. So I know everybody wants to hear about the great quarter, and we're going to get into that. First, I'd just like you to maybe give us a quick overview for those who have seen everybody tweeting about the stock, or they've seen the chatter on a message board or wherever, and they're interested in the story. Perhaps you can just give us a quick little overview of the company.
Yeah, sure. For anybody that's new to the story, I would introduce us this way. Gatekeeper has been in business for several years. A few years ago, we doubled down on children's safety and protecting passengers in transit. Really, that's where we put our focus. Even though our platform is it could be applicable to a number of vehicles. Our focus is on the K-12 market and school bus and transit market and in the rubber tire side. And for investors that have never heard these terms, rubber tire and steel wheel, rubber tire is all of your paratransit buses and your larger buses, and the steel wheel is any trains, right? So we've doubled down in those two markets, and we wake up. Our team wakes up every day focused on protecting kids and protecting passengers in transit, right? So that's a big focus. And since we've done that, it's kind of aligned, our product development, our scalability of our product line. We introduced a platform as a service business model several years ago. That was to widen the product line, try to increase the revenue per vehicle. And really, as part of that platform as a service business model, we've got the brains of the system, which is really our mobile data collectors. We call them MDCs. And those devices sit inside the system on vehicles, either on a school bus or a transit bus or a train. And it sits there collecting all the data. The video integrated with GPS, the vehicle sensors, time, date, driver ID, those sorts of things. And the goal here was that as the market turns to wireless, where our software applications, our cloud-based software applications are able to connect to those devices, and then we can start to layer on the hosted service models, which drive recurring revenue. That's the whole plan, right? We get the systems installed, we get those mobile data collectors out there, and then we come in later on and we start to monetize the data. And that's the evolution of us moving towards a data company. So protecting kids. So some incidents for people that don't know what goes on in a school bus. These school buses they're tasked with taking kids to and from school. And there's a lot of things that can happen on those buses during that period, right? So buses will come to stop, the stop arm will be engaged, kids are getting on and off the bus, and that's a dangerous time, right? They're crossing the street, stop arm is engaged, and there'll be a stop arm violation. So kids have been, I'll use an example. There was up in Indiana back in 2018, we were launching one of our new license plate reading cameras, and it was at the national show. I'll never forget it. Three kids, a sister and two brothers, were crossing the road, and they were run over by a stop arm violator, and all kids were killed, unfortunately. So it is a huge problem, and the safety in and around school buses. So, like I said, we made the decision to double down on safety in and around school buses to protect these kids. And same thing we're doing in transit. So that's what we do. We provide the safety solutions, which include video being recorded, whether it's inside the bus or outside the bus. We've got AI that we're using to make smarter decisions out at the edge. And then we want to push, video back, be able to analyze it, and really provide transportation directors with the information that they need to make sound decisions in their operations.
So, getting to the recent quarter here, you guys just put out this week, we saw revenue grow 101% versus the same quarter 1 year prior. You got gross margins of $4.7 million on just under $10 million in revenue for the quarter. What drove the results?
Well, what drove it was exactly what I just said, right? Like, our platform as a service business model is driving more revenue per vehicle on the K-12 side in certain areas of the country. And so I'll give you an example. In some cases, in the past, we might be, revenue per vehicle might be around $1,500, maybe $2,000. Well, now with our increase in the product line that we have executed on, and the fact that the market is moving to wireless, we're seeing revenue climb up from the $1,500 range to $6,000, sometimes $7,000 or $8,000 per vehicle. That's on the K-12 side of things. We've also got some key accounts on the transit side where we delivered into a significant contract in the first quarter. If you would have seen some press releases, at the end of the year, I messaged to the market that we had over 13 million in back order going into the first quarter. So the market should have been able to pick up that the first quarter was likely going to be fairly strong. I think really where we surprised the market, Steve, was we really did a great job on the operations side. We've got fantastic people here. They worked their butts off, and we delivered higher revenue, higher gross margin, and we didn't increase the operating costs, right? So that all flows to the bottom line. And that's our goal here. Again, it'd be nice if we could hold 20% operating margin. And we were certainly successful in Q1. Q2 is looking quite robust. And but again, that's a culmination of us just executing on our plan that we put in place, several years ago.
So I have to ask, how robust is the pipeline of potential, say, transit districts that you guys can go to and sign deals with? Are you guys just sort of scratching the surface here,
Yeah, we really are. The FRA just passed a ruling recently that there needs to be crash hardened memory modules over operator cameras in trains. So that opens up a potential, depending on the system sale, well over $100 million market just in that one segment. So we're going to be aggressively going after that portion of the market. If you look at how the market is, those two niches being K-12 and transit, how they're broken out, there's really verticals inside those verticals in themselves, right? That require specific products and technology to solve specific problems. So where the future growth is going to come from is when we start turning on these MDCs. Now, we don't give any kind of guidance, or the investors don't necessarily know how many we've actually turned on or how much revenue we're getting quarter to quarter yet from our recurring revenue model, but it's really just starting. If you look at our revenue breakout or breakdown, I suppose, between transit and K to 12. K to 12 is still outperforming the transit market, only because we've just been in that market for a longer period of time. We got a bigger sales system. We got more customers. We're up to about 3,500 customers in the K to 12 market. The transit market is just getting going, but it's already close to 10 million a year in revenue. So I'm expecting bigger things out of the transit market as we move forward. We now have 3 vice presidents of sales that do specific things every day. Jeff Rubin runs our transit group. Val Higgins, who's been with us for 13 years or so, very driven in the K to 12 side of things. And then I just hired Jason Harris out of Florida, who his focus is on the Student Protector program, which is the stop arm camera violation portion. Last year, there was an estimated 45 million violations, stop arm violations that happened in the US alone. And when you start to look at states that are passing legislation to allow video enforcement to be used by school districts, counties, or law enforcement to collect evidence and issue a citation, there's roughly maybe around 17 or 18 states that have passed legislation, that allows video enforcement, allows law enforcement to issue a citation using video from our system or other people's systems on school buses. It really starts to, and the average ticket could be anywhere from $100 up onto $500, depending on the state. You can start to see that there's a potential billion-dollar market there as that grows. And that's just the student protector side of things, right? So Gatekeeper has a cloud-based application called TIMS, stands for Ticket Infraction Management System. That allows us to take the video from the school bus system that we have installed, match the license plate with the vehicle owner, identify the owner, and issue a citation. So I see that part of our business growing as well. It's one of the reasons we hired Jason Harris, who comes out of the K to 12 market from an operations standpoint, to basically focus solely on that business. And so we've got our transit side. Inside that transit business that Jeff is focused on, he's focused on automated lane enforcement, he's focused on steel wheel, and he's focused on rubber tire. So that business in itself, the transit market, it's got an enormous upside in my view, right? And then the K to 12 market. Let's talk about the school buses. You're looking at anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000 a system, and that's what that seems to be the trend now in some areas around the country. And you've got 500,000 yellow school buses that that have various systems on them. They're upgrading their new technology. There's new buses that are between 25 and 50,000 new buses manufactured every year. You got the Biden administration that is committed to an electric vehicle build out, and they want to replace all the buses over the next 10 years. That's a potential fresh palette of buses, representing about 4,000, right? So there's just
is there any way to
go ahead.
Is there any way to get in at the manufacturing level with the bus manufacturers to just make it so that these are kind of like standard in the buses?
Well, there's some challenges there. I'm not sure if you're asking, will the manufacturers actually ever get into the video side of things?
Or for you guys to partner with them?
Yeah, we're more partnered with them, right? Like, so if you look at the market in general, there's International Corporation, Thomas, Bluebird. Those are your 3 big manufacturers, and then you've got other smaller manufacturers as well, and then you got the electric vehicle manufacturers such as Lion. There's a few others, and Gatekeeper has relationships with every one of them. So when we land deals either through the dealers, through the OEM dealers, which operate in every state, or if we land a deal direct with a school district, we are actually installing at either the OEM dealer facility or at the manufacturing facility themselves, whether it's Thomas at High Point, North Carolina, or whether it's IC in Tulsa or Bluebird in Fort Valley, Georgia. So we've got relationships with every one of them, and we're installing at every OEM's facility.
Okay. Obviously, AI is a big part of the stock market conversation right now. We've had ChatGPT sort of launched on the scene a couple of years ago. I don't even know if it was a couple of years ago, maybe it was a year ago, where it really started to blow up. and now there's a lot of people looking towards AI as a sector. Um, you guys have an AI component to what you do. Um, is there ways that technology's changed over the last couple of years that sort of enhances your offering or sort of changes your way of looking at the next line of technology that you guys bring along? How has AI sort of changed the way that you look at your technology?
Okay, so first of all, one of the worst things that can happen in a mobile environment, because our customers are not looking at video 24/7 like they would be in a fixed site surveillance system. They're usually dealing with incidents. So if they know if a bus driver, says there's an incident, then they'll go and they'll find the video and report back. So what happens is that because they're not looking at the video 24/7. The worst thing that can happen is that they go to get an incident and they got missing video. And missing video can happen for either a faulty system or a vandalized camera. That happens all the time, right? So Gatekeeper developed an AI. It was our first entree into the market where we developed a capability to determine if a camera was vandalized. I won't get into all the details because there's some secret sauce there, right? But at the end of the day, what it really means is that if a camera is vandalized and the system thinks it's working, but the camera can't see because somebody's done some things to interrupt the video stream, Gatekeeper, our AI will be able to identify the problem, clip the video, push it back to the server, and then it's called our health check with built-in AI. And that was our first our feature that we added, which quite frankly SEPTA loves, right? Southeast Pennsylvania Transit Authority. Video is very important to them because they're saving about $20 million a year in false liability claims, right? So video is a really important important component to their operations. And we're seeing so AI is it's that edge detection. That's one feature that we added that is unique to us. And so that's part of our bundled package, Steve, that we offer at $29 per bus per month. We offer up our live streaming capability, our hosted service, which comes along with our hosted health check. So we've got our operators actually watching everybody's fleet around the country. And if there's issues going on, we report back to them. We can dispatch techs to solve the problem before they have missing video. So that's the first entry into our feature that we added, and we got a wonderful reception. We're starting to turn on many of those mobile data collectors that are sitting out at the edge. We're starting to deliver $29 per bus per month with that service. In addition to that, on the AI side, we've got some unique capability that we've added into our automated lane enforcement product that we are, final commercialization stage, and we're bidding projects. I will say this, I haven't talked much about this, but how the automated lane enforcement works for your investors that don't necessarily know Gatekeeper. It's really where buses are trying to get from point A to point B in their transit lanes, and there's always seems to be cars parked illegally or they're in the lane. Again, legislation has to be passed in these different states and cities in order for the transit agencies to use video as evidence to issue a citation when that happens. So trying to get rid of the clutter in the transit lanes, that's why we've brought the automated lane enforcement product to market. And inside that product, we've got AI that does certain things out at the edge to determine when a vehicle is in the lane or not in the lane. And then we can push the video back and issue a citation. So I see that portion of the transit market being a growing opportunity as well. And again, we're just getting started with that. As we move forward, just to kind of close off the loop here with your question on AI, there's so many things that we could be doing with AI, to solve specific problems at the edge. But one of the things that we keep an eye on is as the market moves to wireless, we want to be pushing video back to our servers to be able to analyze the video and really do a good job of incident management. So the smarter we can get out at the edge with AI, the less video we have to push back to the server, the less we have to analyze. So that's where I see there being a big growth. I'll give you an example, couple of examples. Drivers texting, right? That in the transit market, that's one of the more dangerous issues that can happen. We're going to be bringing to market, unique capability on being able to identify when drivers are texting. That's number one. Number two, we've got passenger detection in and around buses, school buses. So one of the more dangerous areas is these blind spot. When buses are moving at slow speeds, drivers just can't see. So can't see what's happening in certain areas. So we're going to be introducing algorithms that can identify when a child or a person is in a danger zone that the bus driver can't see, and be able to send a signal to the bus driver and then react accordingly, right? So I don't know if you heard, but just a young kid was just killed last week going underneath a bus to pick up a football, right? And the bus driver didn't know he was there. And unfortunately, another child was killed. So it just pulls at your heartstring. We'll be in this business. This is our business, right? So, and again, I think that the AI portion is going to of our business is going to grow, and it's just one of the reasons that Gatekeeper is unique. Like we've got an engineering team that I would put up against any team in the world as far as what we do and what we do well. And so I just think that what AI does for our systems, it just makes them smarter out at the edge. And like I say, we've doubled down in this business, and AI is going to help us protect people, kids, and save lives.
So, Doug, last question for you. Let's talk about 2024. It's the start of the year. Obviously, you guys are off to the year with a big bang. What does 2024 look like in terms of timelines or potential milestones for the company? If you're an investor watching this or a potential investor, what should they be looking out for in 2024?
Well, we had a good year. I'll just talk just quickly about 2023. We had a good year in 2023, and we're not sitting on our laurels. The Q1, yeah, that's great. It's great to get the applause in Q1, but that's behind us, right? So we're moving on to Q2, 3, and 4, and I've got visibility to what the year looks like already. I would say to your investors that expect Gatekeeper to grow, right? That's our plan here is to continue to innovate, continue to bring new products to market, grow our business on the recurring revenue side, light up more mobile data collectors. And you could imagine, like right now, I feel like Gatekeeper maybe has in the K-12 market, we maybe have 10% of the market, right? We got 50,000 of these mobile data collectors out there, all with the capability to communicate back to our command center and start driving recurring revenue. And we're doing that now. We're turned on over 1,000 of these things already. So, and that's just happened in the last several months. So, we'll be turning on more of those. We'll be driving more recurring revenue. But you could imagine, like if we had a product line, imagine this, if we had a product line and we own 25% of the market, we had 100,000 of them up there, and we could start turning on, 50% of those. You start at $30 a bus per month, and then you add in maybe incident management, maybe some stop arm camera revenue and recurring revenue there. You can see that this company is on a track to turn into a data company and get more recurring revenue. And really, that's what that's going to help us get to a point where some of these quarters are less lumpy, right? Because some of the projects, like we can only control what we can control, right? So some of the quarters can be a little bit lumpy, but that's just kind of the nature of the business. But here's what we are seeing, Steve. We're starting to see the lumpiness or the baseline revenue climb up to north of 20 and now pushing towards 30 million. So it's, in my view, it's only a matter of time before, given our plan, what our product line looks like, our execution plan, it's only a matter of time before you see this company significantly north of 30 million. And And we don't want to stop there, right? The goal here is to grow a big data company. So that's the goal, and we're well on our way. I see growth it'd be interesting to see in 2024, what the train revenue looks like. Because if you look at Southeast Pennsylvania Transit Authority, Steve, that has been a wonderful account for us. And one of the reasons is that we're invested in that community. We're a community partner, but it's helped us to really learn the train business and a bunch of other different types of vehicles as well. We're in paratransit. We're on their police vehicles. We got multiple trains. CRRC has landed a deal with SEPTA, and we're spec'd on the trains there. Alstom has won a project there, and we're spec'd there. So the train business is a niche, and it'll be interesting to see how successful we are, in that business. But the system sales in transit are larger per train and per bus. They're more revenue there than there is in the K-12 market, right? So you're looking at anywhere from, say, it could be $5,000 all the way up to, in some cases, depending on the system configuration on these new trains with OEMs, it could be $30,000 or $40,000, right? So it'll be interesting to see how that layers on. But my point is that Gatekeeper years ago, and you said you met us you met me in 2015. I do remember that, by the way. But back then we were really only a one market company. Now we've got multiple buckets of revenue delivering in these quarters, and they're all starting to hit, right? So some of them they're smaller amounts, but they're still adding, right? They're still adding to that overall top line and bottom line, and we're going to continue to grow. I also want to talk about share dilution here, right? Because the financial structure that we've got in place with the TD Bank, it's quite a reasonable rate, prime plus 0.75%. We have about 8 million available to us, 2 million for suppliers, and 6 for just general operating facility. And then we've got other means with some of our core partners on the hardware side to if we land large projects. So I don't have any plans to dilute this business. We kept our share structure in place. You actually mentioned that, I think, at the beginning of the show. It wasn't necessarily that way in 2013, 14, and 15, right? Like we did do some dilutive financings at real low prices, and I'll never do that again, right? We put our heads down. Last financing we did was 4.2 million in 2017. And, since then we have been growing this business, investing in it, being smart. Every dollar matters. And it's growing quite nicely. We got some good wind in our sales right now. But quite frankly, it's just been the result of everything that we've done in the past. And it's starting to pay some nice dividends here, as far as top line and bottom line growth.
Well, Doug, I sincerely appreciate your ability to execute. It's something we don't see that often in the junior markets here in Canada. So I applaud you and congratulate you, but I look forward to seeing what you're going to be able to do in 2024, because this has it feels like you could be in the early innings of what could be quite a big story. So thanks so much for hopping on here.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Steve. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting the second quarter out and then completing on 2024. I think investors are going to be, I think they're going to be impressed.
Awesome. Thanks, Doug.
All right. Thanks.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this interview, please smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Also, let me know what you think in the comment section. Thanks, everyone.